A pretty key piece for the Thundering Herd so far.
Santa Catarina battling for that ball with Jane Lawman of Marshall. Lawman wins it, but just sends it down the far sideline, and the Oregon transfer, Michelle Rocky, there. Rocky, 17 starts last season for the Oregon Ducks. Ended up with 5 shots on goal from the back for Oregon. No goals. She also appeared in 17 games in 2016. Slowly earning playing time for the Ducks after not playing in 2015 and only playing in 1 game her freshman season in 2014. Aaron Rodgers speaks very highly of Michelle Rocky. 18:20 to play first half. 1-0 the Ohio lead over Marshall. Both teams jousting for that ball near midfield. Molesky gets a touch now. Molesky looking for Lecky. Now she'll play back to Arnzen, who overlaps down the right sideline. Arnzen, out-swinging ball toward the 6. Cleared out by Marshall. Now Lecky with a touch for Ohio. Lecky plays back to Olivia Sensky. Sensky now looking in the middle. Finds Kolika. Kolika back to Kay. Now Santa Catarina controls. Santa Catarina finds Reese, and now Marshall gets it out, and a foul called on Santa Catarina as Gabby Powers made a break toward the ball.
Yeah, I think Powers realized she was beat, might have played that one up a little bit, going to ground, as she would have run into a very strong Ohio back 3 had she tried to go for that ball.
Rogie beats Reese, but Cross had nothing to it. Ohio clears for a moment, and now Metzley Gonzalez can't find Rogie down that right sideline. Out of bounds, Ohio throw. Santa Catarina will check out of this match for the first time today. And now Macy Hugelin makes her first appearance of the ball game. Hugelin, a 5'6" senior midfielder from Brunswick, Ohio, has appeared in every game for the Bobcats thus far. Also appeared in 10 games last season for Ohio, did Hugelin. Only 2 shots on goal, 4 shots total, but one of them came against this Marshall team last season in a 1-0 victory for the Thundering Herd over Ohio. Zallo plays back to Gonzalez. Gonzalez now switches the field. Arnzen gets ahead on that ball in the air, but straight to Powers for Marshall. Powers looking for Abutea down the left sideline. And now Abutea battles with Arnzen. Ball on the ground toward Lawman. Lawman shot, scores. Beats Malum near post. We're knotted at 1.
Really good work by Abutea down the left side, not only to get to that ball, but just a quick touch to beat Arnzen down the left side and keep it. She kept her composition the entire time and played a nice low ball. And at that point, Lawman was wide open in the 18-yard box. There was a defender in the area, but she was behind Lawman. And that ball could not have been better from Farah Abutea, nor could have the shot been better from Jane Lawman. Found the top left corner. No chance for Sydney Malum. That's the first goal that she's allowed all year long in her 3rd start.
First goal allowed for Malum and the first goal for Jane Lawman since 2016. She started in 6 games last season for Marshall before a season-ending injury.
Lawman playing kind of a wing-back role so far today. She's the first defender for Marshall that will move forward when they're attacking. That gives them a little bit of extra dimension in the box.
Molesky sends the ball down the left sideline. Dave Maloney chasing after it. Ball knocked out of bounds. Ohio throw. Lawman, 2 goals in 2016, but 1 goal and 4 assists in 2015 earned her a spot on the Conference USA All-Freshman team. And it'll be Morgan Calica, the sister of Maria Calica, comes into this ball game for the first time this afternoon. Morgan, a 5'3" freshman defender, has started 3 games this season for Ohio. He's now played in all 6. .14:20 to play first half. Ohio 1, Marshall 1. Jenny Santa Catarina gave Ohio an early 1-0 lead in the 8th minute. And Jane Lawman strikes to knot this thing at 1 just about a minute ago. Lucky looking for Molesky, nothing doing. Now ball up in the air. Hugelin gets ahead on it. Now Maloney chests it down, finds Hugelin. Ball played outside. Molesky surveys, crosses, knocked out. Corner kick, Ohio.
It's a corner kick for the Cats.
First time that we've seen the Bobcats with a corner kick today.
And Ohio averaging just under 4 corners a game through the first 5 matches this season. Opponents, meanwhile, averaging 7 corners a game against Ohio. Ball played in swinging ball, near post, punched up in the air by the keeper Benelli. Ball bouncing around in the 18. And now Marshall finally clears.
Kind of haphazard defense played there by Marshall, but got the job done in the end. A lot of bouncing balls, and it looked like Benelli was out of position when that first one just skyrocketed up in the air. But Ohio just couldn't capitalize, couldn't get strong enough contact on the ball. Victoria
Breeden also in this match for Ohio. She threw that in and made the run down the far sideline. Breeden, a 5'7" junior defender, has also appeared in every game for the Bobcats. 1 shot it was on goal this year. She started in 17 games last season as well for Aaron Rodgers. Now a couple more substitutions for Ohio. It'll be Olivia Sensky who returns to the game. And I believe Serena Dierig as well comes in this ballgame. It is Dierig, 5'7" sophomore midfielder who scored the first goal of her collegiate career Friday against Northern Kentucky. That tied the game up at 2. At the time, Ohio, of course, losing to the Norse 3-2 Friday. Dierig has appeared in every game for Ohio, and now Molesky's attempt goes just wide left. Goal kick, Marshall.
Really good play there and a nice cross. I was wondering if Molesky might have wanted to try and control that one. Instead, opted for the first touch shot with the head. Didn't quite get enough power on it, and obviously it blazed left. But even if it had been on target, I think it would have been easy enough for Benelli to scoop and collect.
Benelli with a big foot all the way out toward the center circle. And now Knorr controls for the Bobcats. Knorr playing long. Dierig running on, and Benelli beats her there. Megan Benelli with a big foot. She was actually a place kicker on the football team in high school. She was the first female in her conference to start on varsity. She didn't attempt a field goal, but 26 for 27 in extra points.
Wow. It's a rare breed, you know. High school kickers can come at a premium no matter where you're at. High school football is kind of devoid of kicking sometimes, but if you've got a good kicker and you know that that extra point's always good, I don't think anybody cares who it's coming from.
Knorr looking for Dierig, and Benelli punches it away. Big collision inside the 18. Both slow to get up. And we're going to get a clock stoppage with 10:21 to play in the first half. Still knotted at 1. Dierig's up. She looks so. Megan Benelli a little shaken up. Maloney keeps up the pressure for the Bobcats. Now sends a long shot straight at Benelli. Easy save for the junior keeper.
I think that the way that Maloney looped that one, I think she might have been hopeful trying to find Dierig rather than taking the shot herself. Nevertheless, that's how it will go down on the score sheet.
Breeden wins that ball in the air for Ohio. Now Ross battling for it for Marshall. She loses that one, and Molesky controls just in front of the center circle. Molesky looking far side, and that ball knocked away by Gonzalez. Knorr gets it back now. Plays to the foot of Hugelin. Hugelin plays right side. Molesky, ball toward the 6. Deary gets a head on it, but deflects it away. And now they're going to call the foul on, I believe that's Maeve Maloney out there. It is. Maloney shoves Rogie in the back. Free kick, Marshall.
Ohio's kind of evolved the way that they're playing their back line, obviously with substitutions and new personnel, people playing different roles, but looks like Ohio's playing more of a back 4 now and just keeping 2 center backs behind.
Long kick intended for Booten. And Booten loses it, and now Rogie can't get to it far side. Kicked out of bounds, Marshall throw. That's the first time we've called Kanan Booten's name today. 5'7" sophomore forward. 7 shots in 3 games for Marshall this season, 5 of them on goal. That's second on the Marshall squad in both those categories. Now Booten plays back for Rogie. Near the corner flag. Rogie back for Molly Preston, and now ball knocked out on the far sideline. Marshall throw once again, under 8 minutes to play. First half, still knotted at 1. Booten gets a touch, but right out of bounds. Ohio throw now.
Takes a little bit of pressure off the Bobcats. The Thundering Herd had been marching into their territory for a long time, and finally Bobcats are able to get control back.
Maria Kalika leaves this game, and Sarah Kachanen, native of Finland, enters this ball game for the first time this season. Marshall controls far side. Pass knocked toward the middle. And now the Thundering Herd try to flip sides, but ball way behind Farah Abutea. And out of bounds for a Bobcat throw.
Yeah, Abutea was definitely thinking more vertically than she was laterally. But it was the opposite for the pass.
Knorr finds Dierig. Dierig looking down the near sideline for Hugelin. And that ball off of Hugelin for a Marshall goal kick.
Farah Abutea has been playing consistently on this left wing for Marshall, but a lot of their play has gravitated toward the right side. Now, I'm not sure if that's Ohio pushing it that direction because they know the threat of Farah Abutea, or if that's just the way the cookie has crumbled so far today. But Abutea has been a key piece. I mean, she had the 1 assist for Marshall so far today, and she really facilitates that offense in more ways than one. So it's surprising to see Marshall's run of play happen so frequently on the right side.
Jane Lawman controls near the center circle. Now long ball intended for Farah Abutea. Abutea loses that one, and Kalika swings it right out of bounds for a Marshall throw. And now it'll be Juliana Smith who enters this game for the Thundering Herd. Smith, a 5'4" senior midfielder, has started 3 of the 4 games this season for Marshall, has appeared in now all 5. She did not have any points, goals, or assists in her first 2 seasons with Marshall, but already an assist in the first 4 games for the Thundering Herd this season. And now Paige Knorr dribbles out of trouble, tries to find Macy Hugelin, but ball trickles out of bounds for another Marshall throw.
And another Marshall substitution. We're seeing Preston come off.
Preston comes off, and Abby Dropick enters the game. Dropick's first appearance of the season. Dropick, a 5'2" sophomore defender out of Pennsylvania. Now Annie Springer controls. Gets it back now, and she'll send the ball in toward the top of the 18. And that ball sails far post, cleared out by Michelle Rocky near the Ohio bench for a Marshall throw. 4:10 to go first half, still tied at 1.
I thought she about cleared that ball onto Schaefer Street.
Not quite. Ball in, intended for Booten, and cleared out by Rocky once again. Jenny Santa Catarina got this game started. An 8th-minute goal gave Ohio a 1-0 lead. Now a deep throw in inside the 6, trickles over everybody. And the keeper, Malam, corrals. Quick throw. Olivia Molesky looks for Deerig down the near sideline. Deerig has to stop, put on the brakes, and finds Hugelin. Hugelin for Molesky, and that's a nice defensive play made by Ashley Seltzer to step in front.
Yeah, good awareness by Seltzer there, and that might create something for the Herd here. Although
Rogie chasing, Kalika beat her to it. Nice defensive play. And now ball swung up near the center circle. Good step by Metzley. Metzley Gonzalez. She's been one of the stronger ones for that Marshall back line. Derrick finds Hugelin. Now Hugelin, long ball intended for Paige Knorr. Knorr chips the keeper, intended for goal, and an emergency clearance made by Metzley Gonzalez. Ball trickles out for an Ohio corner, but Gonzalez saves a goal.
Yeah, impressive play from Gonzalez to be able to keep her composure as she goes toward that back line. Unfortunately for Paige Knorr, it was not hard enough of a shot. She didn't give enough power on that ball. It was definitely going to get into goal. She beat Benelli by a couple of steps even. I was surprised that Benelli came that far out.
Outswinging ball on the corner, deflected outside the 18. Kalika finds Hugelin once again. Hugelin touches to her left foot, crosses, and cleared. And Victoria Breeden takes control. Hugelin looking for Paige Knorr once again, no offside. Knorr touches, trying to get it to her left foot, does. Sends one in, right to Benelli. Easy save, just under 2 minutes to play first half. Still knotted at 1. Ohio now with 4 shots on goal.
Good looking ball there from Paige Knorr. Unfortunately, just sent it a bit too high. It was going to loop down, but it just looped down into the hands of Benelli.
Benelli's kick end to end, and now Malam comes out of her box and clears that one down the far sideline. And that's a heads-up play from Sydney Malam. I think Booten would have beat everyone to the ball.
I agree. Malam just did a good job getting there early and making sure that she had control.
Clearance there by Olivia Sensky. How to play that one's onto Schaefer Street.
You're absolutely right. Strong clearances from Ohio so far today, and that's a good thing. I mean, you don't want anything to get back into play. Obviously, Marshall sending attackers forward. You don't want one of those attackers to get on the end of a clearance just when you thought that you had gotten rid of all danger.
Long throw, and Powers got a head on it, but Malam corrals easily. 40 seconds to play, first half. Ohio and Marshall knotted at 1. That ball behind Molesky. Marshall sends one up in the air, and now ball sent outside to Paige Knorr. Knorr finds Molesky. Molesky back to Knorr. 25 seconds to play first half. Knorr looking long for Deerig. Deerig trying to beat Benelli to it. And Megan Benelli comes out of the 6 and gets that ball.
Yeah, but Benelli was once again kind of late to break for that one, and that's what almost gave Ohio the lead. Benelli didn't quite come out of her box in time, and Paige Knorr beat her there.
2 seconds, 1 second. There's the half. Ohio 1, Marshall 1, knotted after 45 minutes of play. We'll break it down for you a little bit when we come back from Chesa Field on Ohio Bobcat TV. Back here at Chesafield, just under 2 minutes until we get started for the second half between Ohio and Marshall. Jenny Santa Catarina got Ohio on the board this afternoon. An 8th-minute goal, her first of the season, gave the Bobcats a 1-0 lead. And then Marshall strikes back. Jane Lawman comes up from her defender position. You said it, she's kind of that swingman right now for Marshall. She pushes forward a lot, and she buries one in the top left corner past Sydney Mullum to knot this thing at 1. But you said it in the middle of the broadcast, there was nothing really Mullum could do about that one. That was the first goal she's allowed all season for Ohio. This is her 3rd start of the season. Let's just give you some first half numbers before we get in to the second half here at Chesa. Ohio out shooting Marshall 9-3 in the first half. 4 shots on goal for Ohio, just 2 for the Thundering Herd. 2 corner kicks for Ohio, 1 for Marshall. The assist, by the way, came from Farah Abutea on the goal for Marshall, and no assist listed yet for Ohio, but we believe it was Sydney Leckie who laid that ball off to Jenny Santa Catarina for the goal. 4 fouls on Ohio in the first half, 2 on Marshall, and Megan Benelli, the keeper for Marshall, had to make 3 saves in the first half. Malum only had to make 1 for Ohio as the clock resets to 45 minutes. And we're set to go here at Chesafield. Ohio moves right to left here in the second half. Marshall moves left to right. There's your whistle. There's your first touch. And right away they'll go to Brianna Reese near side.
The thing that struck me about this game so far, Gabe, is that there's not a lot of midfield battle going on right now. It's the forwards touching the ball and getting through, or it's the defenders having to clear. And that's exactly what's happening right now. It's battles between forwards and defenders. Not too much battling in the midfield.
Huber looks long for Leckie, and a good job by Karen Rogie. No, excuse me, that was Abby Dropick to shield off Leckie, and ball trickles out of bounds for a goal kick. Benelli with that strong leg. Looking far side for Abutea. Abutea chested down, but Ohio wins it in the midfield. Okay, a little 1-2 with Huber, and that ball picked off by Metzley Gonzalez. Gonzalez looking long for Budin. And now it'll be Rocky who comes away with it for Ohio. Rocky down the left sideline near the 18, battling with Gonzalez. Gonzalez pokes it out. Corner kick, Ohio.
It's a corner kick for the Cats.
Ohio starting off the second half the same way that they ended the first, just with a lot of positive movement, a lot of attacking motion for Ohio so far today.
Townsend plays Leckie right back to Townsend, and she loses it. Goal kick, Marshall. That was the 3rd corner kick of the afternoon for Ohio. I mentioned it earlier, but the Bobcats averaging just under 4 corner kicks per game. Their opponents averaging about 7 corners a game, and Marshall with just 1 in that first half.
Yeah, Marshall only has 13 corner kicks through their first 5 games, so less than 3 per game for the Thundering Herd. But that's not really a factor in their games so far. Their opponents just 14 corner kicks through those first 5 games, excuse me.
Gonzalez looks down the near sideline for Ross. Too far out of play. Quick throw, Ohio. Townsend, the freshman, battles with Gonzalez, wins it. Now Huber finds Townsend through. Townsend, 1 touch near the top of the 18. Now Leckie. Leckie swings the ball in, and it hits off the inside post. Inside of the far post, Cindy Leckie puts one on goal. And Megan Benelli saved by that right post.
Yeah, that was a weird play for Benelli to have to deal with. She couldn't tell whether it was going to be a cross or a shot from Leckie. We really couldn't tell up here either. But Leckie going for goal there. Did it hit both post games? I couldn't tell. It definitely ricocheted off something on that left side and then hit the right post. But I don't know if that was Benelli on the left side or if that was the right post.
I couldn't tell you either, my friend. Just a weird angle from where we are on top of the roof here of the press box. Marshall attacking the other way now. That ball cleared out by Mandy Arnzen on the far side. Just over 3 minutes into the second half. Ohio and Marshall still deadlocked at 1. Powers gets a touch off the throw-in. Now she finds Abutea, and Abutea ricochets one right off of Arnzen for a throw. Marshall defeated Ohio 1-0 last year. And the Thundering Herd have not lost to the Bobcats since 2012. These two teams did not play in 2013 and 2014, but the Thundering Herd over the last 3 years against Ohio, 2 victories and a tie. Reese heads that cross out. Now Huber flicks it on for Kay. Kay pokes it over the top, now settles and finds Reese near sideline. Reese plays middle to Huber. Huber flips the field to Arnzen. Arnzen gets a touch. And now Colico wins it away from Powers, and Powers called for the foul.
Yeah, some smart play by Ohio here. You saw Arnzen in the middle of the field, or excuse me, Kay, when Ohio looked like they were breaking, but Kay had to slow things down a little bit, and that was okay because Ohio was able to maintain control of the ball, and that's the most important thing, rather than necessarily beating the defenders. I mean, you need both, but more than anything, you need control of the ball.
Sensky plays one in. Marshall wins it away, and it's Springer dribbling up the left sideline, and that pass just not enough, intended for Farah Abutea on the far side. Gonzalez pokes it away from Lecky. Now the ball with Kay. Kay plays outside to Reese, who makes a run from her defending position. Cross deflected. Reese gets it back, and she'll try to poke it around Rogi. Rogi does a nice job defending, and now Lecky pokes it out of bounds. Marshall throw.
Yeah, Ohio kind of forced themselves into a corner over on the left side. Tough positioning for them. The Herd defenders were able to deal with it, especially, as you mentioned, Rogi did a nice job of covering a lot of ground for the Herd.
Reese pokes it out of bounds off the foot of Lawman. Out of bounds, Marshall throw. Rogi got a head on it. Now Lecky gets a touch. Ball bouncing around on the feet of Kay. Kay, long shot up and just high. Kay had a goal against Northern Kentucky Friday. Just misses above the crossbar there. We're still tied at 1.
Yeah, that would have been an absolute screamer from Kay. It looked really nice as it was looping down. I think Benelli might have had the net covered there. She was tracking it pretty well. Not a lot of power on that ball from Kay, but a lot of finesse. And that ball was just looping low like it might have been able to sneak in under the crossbar. Instead, just a couple inches high.
Abutea flicks on for Powers. Powers now sends one down the far sideline. Booten chasing for Marshall. Sensky gets there first and clears. Just under 38 minutes to play in the match. Ohio 1, Marshall 1. On a very hot afternoon here in Athens, Ohio.
Yeah, I got to say, Gabe, we're baking up here. I can't imagine what the players are feeling down on the field right now. We're standing still, and the only muscles we're moving are those in our mouths. But those soccer players right now have got to be just dying in this 90-degree heat and humidity here in southeastern Ohio.
Lecky sprints, dribbles right side, taken away by Gonzalez. Metzley Gonzalez has been a brick wall back there for Marshall this afternoon. Now Arnzen steps in front, wins it away from Abutea. Trying to find Kay. Power steps in front. Powers for Farah Abutea. Abutea touches around Arnzen. And now dribbling toward the corner, Arnzen slides, knocks it out of bounds. Corner kick, Marshall.
Now we've seen Farah Abutea since the beginning of the game, but we haven't seen Mara, since early on in that first half, her twin sister, those two have been a really solid force at the top of the attacking line for the Thundering Herd so far this season. Farah, the more prolific one, with 3 goals and an assist. But Mara also has a goal on the year.
Ross sends one near post, headed toward the top of the 18. Powers flicks it on once again. Booten there, plays back for Ross. Ross to Powers, touches outside Lawman. Lawman, left-footed shot deflected, middle of the 18, bouncing around, and Malum comes up with it. Marshall wanted a call in the box, nothing doing. Malum quick throw out to Reese near side. Reese works middle of the field. Carries, surveys. Now finds Kolika. Kolika working on Abutea. Abutea won it away.
Farah Abutea has been one of the best players on this pitch for either side. She's just consistently finding good spaces for an attacking position, but also being able to track back and take the ball away, helping out her midfielders quite often in this game. Obviously, she gets it done on the stat sheet with 3 goals and an assist this season. Make that 2 after her assist earlier on today. So she's getting it done on the stat sheet, but there are certain intangibles that she's doing as well, like finding space and some of her defensive moves, too, just to cut off certain Ohio runs. 6
goals this season for Marshall, 3 of them by Farah Abutea, and 2 assists for Farah Abutea as well. She's been involved in 5 of them.
That's just insane. I mean, you can't speak to how much she has done for this team and so far this season, and even with those numbers showing that, there's even more that she's doing.
Free kick, Ohio. Just under 35 to play in this match. Ohio and Marshall still deadlocked at 1. Rocky carries all the way past the center circle, looks long for Lecky, and Lecky was just offside.
It was a promising run for Lecky down the left side, but she was just playing maybe a shoulder in front of the defender.
First offside infraction today for Ohio. As Rocky wins that ball in the air, Lecky brings it down with her left foot, finds Huber. Huber to the foot of Townsend, now through for Lecky. Lecky sprints in the middle of the 18, gets a touch, and now a fantastic defensive play made by, I believe, Ashley Seltzer.
It was, Gabe.
Long ball out of bounds. Ohio throw.
Yeah, the Herd looked a bit short-handed on that one a little bit, like they were anticipating attacking, so they sent some of their defenders farther forward. They had 3 back, but Ohio looked like they had 3 attacking players that were involved in that. Seltzer looked like she was initially beat, and it was Townsend that was streaking forward, making the play. But Seltzer kind of ran around the ball and got into a good position to make that play.
Powers switches the field to Rogie. Rogie mistouch. Reese gets in, and no foul called. Ross picks it up, trying to find Powers, and Powers gets a touch. Booten there. Save made by Malum, but she was offside anyways. Who knows what would have happened on the rebound, but Marshall offside for the 2nd time today.
Yeah, Booten found herself in a good position, but she was definitely anticipating a different run, a different ball being played, and when it ricocheted forward, she was completely offside. 2 body lengths at least, from my point of view.
Malum plays short. Sensky on the ground to Kolika. Kolika gets shoved in the back. Ohio free kick in the back third.
Yeah, Marshall playing very aggressively to open the second half. They haven't had a lot of offensive chances in this game in total. You mentioned that they were outshot by Ohio by 6 shots. Is that right, Gabe? 9-3, or was it 9-4?
9-3.
Okay. So they haven't had that offensive chances, especially when you're comparing it to their opponents today in the Bobcats. But they've definitely shown some aggression. They're sending more numbers forward. without the ball so far. It looks like possession is mostly swinging Ohio's way here in the second half, although Marshall will take it now.
Rogie looking long for Booten. Sensky gets a touch. Booten gets it back. And now plays middle, looking for Ross. Arnzen steps in and wins that one. Leckie near side for Ohio. Leckie to the feet of Huber. Huber plays back Kay. Kay over the top. Townsend. Townsend in on goal. Chips Benelli and a save made by Megan Benelli.
Great reflex save by Megan Benelli. It was really well positioned by Townsend. That was just about all she could do. She was playing that ball to the far post, and Benelli just got her left hand out there. Strong left hand it was, and made the save. Unfortunately for Ohio, no other runners in the middle of the box, and the Herd was there to defend and clear. But what a chance for Abby Townsend.
Her 4th save of the match, 22nd of the season for Benelli. Townsend leads this Ohio squad with 2 goals, and that's the best opportunity she's had all afternoon. Leckie playing long for Kay, too far. Benelli just plays it with her foot.
Ohio has had some nice balls over the top, especially here in the second half. That wasn't really their strategy in the first 45 minutes, but here they are getting more numbers forward. Like I said, kind of leaving that midfield empty. We haven't seen a lot of play in the midfield, so Ohio reacting accordingly and pushing numbers further forward.
Drop it, carries up the right sideline, finds Ross in the middle. Ross working on Rocky, plays one through, powers, and just too far, trickles past the end line for a goal kick. Couple subs now for the Marshall Thundering Herd. And it'll be Mara Abutea and Juliana Smith who return to the game for Marshall. Mara Abutea, she has a goal this season as well, so if you want to talk about, you know, family members, twins, and Mara and Farah, they've accounted for every goal this season. Malum's goal kick takes a hop to Ross of Marshall at midfield. Good slide tackle by Kay to win the ball back to the feet of Townsend. Now Huber. Huber touches right foot, tries to flick one over the top. Good defense by Gonzalez. And now Santa Catarina looking for Arnzen, right side. Arnzen to Sensky to the feet of Townsend. Townsend plays back Sensky, and now Sensky looking for Townsend down the right sideline, deflected out by Annie Springer. Ohio throw.
We haven't seen Ohio really use that right side so far today. Or, well, they have today, but in the second half they've been mostly attacking down that left wing. So getting players like Arnzen and Santa Catarina involved, again, will be a good thing for the Bobcats. Get some different names out there and fresh legs almost, as they haven't been super involved in the offensive movement in this second half.
Townsend back for Arnzen. Arnzen deflects one off of Abutea, wins it back. Mandy Arnzen, the senior defender, cuts in now, trying to find Huber, and ball deflected away. Powers gets there for Marshall. Now she just boots it up the far sideline. No one there, but I believe that ball stays in.
It does, almost all the way down.
Now it trickles out for an Ohio throw.
I mean, as far as clearances go, when you're right on that sideline, you can't get it much better than that. Obviously, Powers didn't have anywhere to go. Ohio had the numbers back. Marshall was anticipating defending a little bit more than they did. Now they're sending numbers forward.
27 minutes, 33 seconds to play in the match. Ohio and Marshall still tied at 1. Battle in the midfield. Comes Ohio's way. Kolika looks down the far sideline for Townsend. Townsend bodied off by Springer. Springer clears, but right to the foot of Ohio once again. Huber, a long ball in. Straight to Benelli on a couple of hops.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Huber knew something we didn't about what was going on there, but there weren't any runners down the middle Kay was kind of in the area, but she was playing a lot further back, nowhere near the 18-yard box. And didn't look like Huber was really trying to shoot that ball. Certainly didn't have the power from that distance. But no runs from the outside.
Olivia Molesky returns to the game for Ohio. Emery Biggs checks in the game for Marshall, along with Juliana Smith. Excuse me, it's not Juliana Smith, it's Alyssa Tatsky. So Tatsky making her first appearance of the season. Biggs making just her second for Marshall. And excuse me, Tatsky, read the wrong thing. Tatsky has appeared in all 4 games for Marshall. But Biggs making just her second appearance. She's only played 18 minutes this season. Reese wins that ball in the air and actually right back to herself. She'll flick it toward the sideline. Now Dropic back to Smith. Long ball for Abutea. This time it's Mara Abutea down the right sideline. Abutea working on Reese. Cuts in. Gets it to her left foot. Now Powers back to Abutea. Mara Abutea, shot deflected just high by Malum and out for a corner.
Yeah, Malum had to work there, had to act immediately. Didn't know whether that was going to be on goal or just across. But regardless, her best point of defense was to get that out of play before anything happened, and that's exactly what she did. Danger's not clear, though. Marshall having to take the corner.
That was a heck of a run by Mara Abutea. Ross sends the ball in near the 6, headed out by Sensky. Townsend there for Ohio. She tries to flick on for Lecky. Ball picked off by Seltzer, and that ball just misses. Cleared out by the Ohio defense. Marshall throw.
Fingertip save there, too, for Malum. Reaching up as high as she could. Like I said, just got a fingertip on it and hit it off the crossbar. That's all she could do, but it's exactly what she needed to do to keep that ball out and to keep Ohio knotted at 1 with Marshall.
And that's where the athleticism of Malum really comes into play. You said it. That ball probably finds the back of the net. She doesn't get a fingertip on it. Lecky now trying to work a counter for Ohio, going long down the far sideline for Molesky. Molesky gets there. Couple long touches. Kay running in the middle, so is Townsend. Molesky beats her man, sends one in, far post. Townsend not there, trickles out for a Marshall throw.
Really solid run from Molesky down the right side. Good awareness to find her over there, and she just kept running for it. Got there before anybody else did. Sent a really nice ball in, too. It was destined for that back post where Abby Townsend was stationed. She just couldn't quite get there in time. Might have been a bit over her head as well. But good positive run of play for Ohio here in the second half.
Biggs looking long, headed away by Rocky. Santa Catarina got a touch, but foul called on, I believe, Colica. As Biggs took a tumble, I think Colica might have got her in the back. Marshall kick. 23:15 to play, second half. Ohio 1, Marshall 1. And Gonzalez will take the kick. Gonzalez near the 18, headed away by Reese, and now Kay with the ball for Ohio. Kay finds Molesky. Molesky dances with it a little bit. Now long ball for Lecky. Lecky flicks on for Townsend. Townsend in a race with Seltzer, and Seltzer turns her away. Sensky battles for it with Springer now, off of Sensky. Marshall throw, quick throw to Powers, far side. Powers looks long and right past Mandy Arnzen. Charging toward goal, shot deflected off the foot of Tatsky. Tatsky got it back, working on Rocky. Tatsky plays back, now ball swung in. Sensky chest down, clearance. Marshall still controls. Juliana Smith flicks outside. Arnzen, nice step, pokes it away. Now Marshall throw near midfield, far sideline, just under 22 minutes to play in this game. Ohio and Marshall still tied at 1, and a slew of subs about to come in for Ohio, but we're going to get a water break. So it's a hot one here in Athens this afternoon. Let's see if we can get an official temperature up here today. 90 degrees. And, well, my phone says the high was 89.
Well,
so
your phone lied to you, Gabe.
It did.
Notoriously deceitful, the smartphone.
I thought weather apps were always 100% correct. So Jenny Santa Catarina's goal in the 8th minute for Ohio has the Bobcats on the scoreboard. Jane Lawman knotted this thing up at 1 about midway through the first half, and that's where we stand right now.
Gabe, my weather app is telling me that it's 89 degrees right now and that it feels like a 94. I'm going to contest that and say it feels like 150.
I don't know about 150, but I'll give you the 94.
It is intensely hot. 48% humidity here in southeastern Ohio.
You a weatherman now?
I'm just looking at what my weather app is telling me, Gabe.
6 shots on goal for Ohio in this one, just 3 for Marshall. 3 corner kicks apiece as well. I'll tell you what, though. Mallon might have saved the game for Ohio in net with that fingertip save that just sent the ball off the crossbar.
But you also go back to that goal line clearance from Metzley Gonzalez back in the first half, not to be overlooked, where a shot from Paige Knorr beat keeper Bonelli. But Gonzalez got there before it crossed the goal line, and Ohio was unable to score there.
Yeah, Bonelli came out toward the top of the 18. Knorr got there first. Nice chip, but just a little too soft. And Gonzalez was the last line of defense there for the clearance. Marshall controls, and here's Metzley Gonzalez with the ball at her feet. Gonzalez to Dropic near side. Dropic finds Ross. Nice touch toward the middle, but Kay there for Ohio. Kay finds Reese. Quick ball to Maria Calica. Calica loses it. Now Dropic plays back to the keeper, Megan Bonelli. Bonelli plays a ball far side, headed down by Townsend. Molesky has it top of the box. She gets it kicked away. And now Marshall controls with Smith and Springer over there on the far side. Springer still carrying, now sends one long for Ross. Ross in the 18, and a slide tackle made by Mandy Arnzen. Dangerous tackle in the box, but she gets it done. And now I believe that's Rocky, and over the touchline. But Marshall got a touch. It's going to be a goal kick. Right before that ball went out, someone from Marshall got a touch near the line, and it's out for a goal kick.
That's a big break for Ohio.
And that was Totsky. After drawing the foul, Totsky isn't able to keep that ball in. And Malum is going to kick this one away.
Amid all that confusion, Serena Dierig is in for Maddie Kay. Abby Townsend also comes out of the game.
And now Molesky is pushed down by Powers. Ohio gets a free kick on their half near the center circle. It'll be Sensky to take it. Ohio will push 7 forward with Rocky in the center circle right next to Sensky. Sensky, long ball toward Dierig and Molesky, flicked on and cleared. Rocky there for Ohio, but she heads it near side out of bounds. Reese couldn't get there. 18:40 to play in the match. Ohio and Marshall deadlocked at 1. And on the stat sheet, Ohio has controlled this ball game.
Yeah, they have considerably more shots on goal, but ultimately the number that matters is 1 goal apiece.
Lecky finds Deering, now Molesky. Molesky sprints down the left side and trying to play through to Lecky. And once again, it's Metzley Gonzalez who gets a foot on that ball. I'll tell you what, every single time it seems like Ohio has a break, Metzley Gonzalez shows up.
Yeah, she's definitely been the unsung hero for the Herd in this one. Just a brick wall as the central defender for Marshall.
Reese controls it now. A foul called on Mara Abutea, tugging Reese from behind. And this is a free kick and a pretty good spot for the Bobcats. Sensky and Lecky by the ball. We'll see which one takes it. I think it'll be Sensky. It will. Lecky will trot up the left sideline. Sensky toward the top of the 18. Now Molesky gets a foot on it near the 18. Cleared out. Reese there for Ohio. Reese trying to find Lecky, and it's taken away by Mara Abutea. Abutea plays Ross. Ross back to Gonzalez. Gonzalez plays long. Reese there for Ohio, gets a head on it. Molesky controls, tries to flick outside for Lecky, and instead it's Biggs who gets a touch. Molesky gets it back. Now Reese trying to play long, hits the back of her teammate Lecky and out of bounds. We'll get a Marshall sub here as well. And I believe it'll be Powers, or Preston, excuse me. Molly Preston replaces Abby Dropick for Marshall. Preston, long throw. Santa Catarina gets a head on it. Now Molesky jousts forward and wins it back to Sensky. Sensky plays back for Rocky, and now Rocky plays in the middle to Hugelin. Now ball down the right sideline, Dierig. Dierig just outside the 18, surveys, one touch, cross near post, sent on goal, save made by Benelli. It was Morgan Calica there who got a foot on it. And Benelli makes another save with Santa Catarina in the 6.
Yeah, had Benelli not collected that, Santa Catarina would have had her second goal of the day. Really important play from Benelli. Not only that she got a touch on it, but that it didn't go anywhere. That she was able to collect that and keep it herself. Sometimes a goalie might go for a punch in that situation, but I think Santa Catarina would have been there.
Dierig finds Molesky, and Molesky lets it go to Reese. Reese plays the ball toward the middle to Lecky, headed out by Gonzalez. Molesky now in a battle and wins it. Molesky with the ball on her right foot. Plays Calica. Calica back to Hugelin, and Hugelin can't get a touch. Molesky now bodies off Ross. No foul called. Renee Ross is shocked. Molesky plays Lecky. Lecky, ball on the ground, deflected out. Corner kick, Ohio.
Really important stop by Juliana Smith to take Molesky off the ball earlier on. Molesky eventually won it back off of Ross and was able to play it down that left side. Ohio looking very positive right now, definitely looking to score.
Victoria Breeden enters this game for Ohio for the second time today. Looks like Macy Hugelin will take the corner for Ohio. She will. Hugelin, ball in the 6, punched away by Benelli. Back to Hugelin. Hugelin, right-footed touch, in-swinging ball. Molesky there, heads it, and a save made by Benelli. Megan Benelli comes up once again. We're still knotted at 1 with just over 14 to play.
The fans here at Chesapeake were anticipating a goal there. What a play there from Ohio, but an even better save by Benelli, able to parry it off to her right.
Hugelin, ball in, hits the near post, trickles toward the top of the 18. Lecky can't get a touch. Abutea comes away with it for Marshall, and now pokes it down the right sideline. No one there. Breeden controls. Breeden trying to find Lecky, can't do it. Ball taken away by Biggs. I'll tell you what, Megan Benelli, hats off to her.
Yeah, she has been terrific in goal, making a couple fantastic saves.
I mean, point-blank saves.
Yeah, huge reflex saves where she's just had to stick her arm out and hope that she makes contact. She's done it both times. So all credit to her. And the one goal that did go in from Santa Catarina, she was at full stretch down to her left side.
She had a little bit of fingertips on that one, too.
She might have, yeah. It was very close. But it takes a lot to beat Megan Benelli. She's proven that over her career at Marshall. 137 saves coming into the season, which ranks 6th all-time in program history.
Dierig in the middle for Ohio, taken away by Gonzalez. Smith comes up with it for Marshall. Now a nice step by Rocky to get it back. Rocky leaves it for Hugelin. Hugelin finds Lecky, and now Lecky turns down the left sideline. Lecky beat Preston. Now in swinging ball, Benelli there easily. Lecky kept that one on the ground.
Yeah, not only did she keep it on the ground, but it was a little bit too close to the goalkeeper. Benelli made it too easy for her to come out and scoop that one up. Had she played it a little bit far back, kind of squared the ball up a little bit more, Serena Dierig would have had a nice play on the ball. Instead, it's just a little bit too long, and it was pretty easy for Benelli.
Ball deflects that off of Breeden. We're going to get a sub for both teams here. It'll be Paige Knorr for Ohio. I believe Kylie Slusser for Marshall. If so, Kylie Slusser making her first appearance. It's Slusser, her first appearance of the season.
Not only her first appearance of this season, but of the last 3 seasons. She missed her previous 2 years to injury for the Thundering Herd. So a good return to the pitch for her. I'm sure she's excited to be playing soccer again.
Preston gets knocked to the ground, draws a free kick for Marshall now. 11:20 to play, second half. Ohio and Marshall deadlocked at 1. It'll be Gonzalez to take the kick. Gonzalez to kick. Sends one in near the PK spot, headed out by Ohio. And now cleared down the right sideline. Annie Springer controls, finds Smith, who quickly finds Biggs. Biggs touches, long right-footed shot, way wide. Goal kick for Malum in Ohio.
Yeah, it could have been a shot, could have been a cross, looking for Totsky down that right side. But either way, too long for the cross and not close enough to goal for a shot. We remain deadlocked at 1, 10 minutes to go until a potential overtime period, Gabe.
And that overtime period, by the way, in college soccer, 2 10-minute overtime periods, but first goal wins.
The golden goal scenario, which has been removed from most of the professional levels of the sport, remains here in the NCAA.
Breeden gets her pass deflected and cleared, intended for Dierig. And now Hugelin wins it back for Ohio, pokes it toward the middle, and she got the foul called by Totsky. And the few Marshall fans that have traveled here to Chesa Field didn't like that one. Not a bad crowd here on hand at Chesa Sunday afternoon here on the campus of Ohio University.
Yeah, and for Marshall fans, just a hop, skip, and a jump away.
Rocky for Breeden. Breeden skied high in the air toward the top of the 18. Dierig shot and she buries it. Serena Dierig strikes again for the second time this weekend. And Ohio has a 2-1 lead with 9:25 to play.
Serena Dierig just absolutely incredible on that one. She didn't even take a touch there. It just settled down right in front of her. The first kick that she had on that ball was a beautiful strike to the right side of the net, and that was able to catch Benelli off guard. If there's one thing that Benelli has been doing well, it's anticipating the action of Ohio, figuring out what they're going to do before they do it. But here, there was no anticipating what that was going to be. It was a perfect ball that just barely found the right foot of Dierig, but she absolutely buried it, just like you said, Gabe.
Dierig's second goal in a couple of days, her first 2 goals of her collegiate career after not having any last season as a freshman. She scored to tie the game at 2 Friday against Northern Kentucky on a right-footed volley. And now that one falls to her right foot as well, and she beats Benelli right post. Ohio 2, Marshall 1, 9:10 to play. And the Bobcats are 9 minutes away from picking up their first home victory here in 2018 and their first win against Marshall since 2012. Serena Dierig out of Powell, Ohio, attended Olentangy Liberty High School where she was a goal scorer there. 50 goals and 19 assists in her 4 years, second team All-State in 2015. First team All-Conference in 2016. Brings that talent here to Ohio, and Aaron Rodgers has to be pleased with the way she's played this weekend.
Yeah, Dierig not crumbling under pressure either. Both of her goals have been absolutely immense. The one against Northern Kentucky tied that game at 2 before Ohio ultimately lost it 3-2. And that goal right there could end up as the game winner. 8 minutes to play, and that's where we currently stand. Ohio with a 2-1 lead over Marshall.
Kay replaces Hugelin for Ohio. And Mara Abutea returns to the game for Marshall. She replaces Alyssa Totsky.
Yeah, Marshall wanting to make sure that they have all their goal-scoring threats in there. Before, I'm sure that they were trying to play somewhat of a balanced attack, but now they've got to play from behind and come up with a goal in the next 7 minutes and 40 seconds. Ohio, meanwhile, will try to run out as much clock as possible.
Okay, flicks it on for Molesky. Ball bouncing around, now sent toward Dierig. Dierig flicks it on. Paige Knorr sprints for it for Ohio. She's bodied off, and now clearance made by Seltzer. Knorr races for it, gets it before it crosses out of bounds. Outswinging ball sent in. Dierig, far post, gets ahead toward the middle of the 18 and cleared out by Marshall. And now no one there for the Thundering Herd on the far side. Morgan Kolika comes up with it. Kolika sends the ball toward the top of the 18. Lawman got a foot on it. Ball now rolling. Molesky there for Ohio. Molesky to Knorr. Knorr touches to her right foot. Takes another one, and now tries to send a ball in. Deflected high and just out. Knorr gets a foot on that one once again, and this time it's Maria Kolika there for Ohio. And Kolika plays back to Arnzen. 6.5 to play. Ohio leads 2-1. And that ball just out as Morgan Kolika couldn't quite get there. The whole Ohio bench thought that ball stayed in. Instead, it's a Marshall throw-in with 6:15 to play. And now off the throw, Ohio deflects it out once again. Ohio 10 shots on goal today, just 3 for the Thundering Herd. Now Kay looks for Knorr. Knorr flick on for Kay, too far, cleared out by Seltzer. Seltzer looking for Powers. Arnzen wins it in the air. Now Marshall controls. It's Emery Biggs. Biggs off the foot of Kolika, and Kolika keeps it in. Springer heads it now for Marshall. And no foul called as Kolika and Biggs collided. Kay in the middle now for Ohio. Outside to Molesky. Molesky on her right foot. Takes a touch. Shot straight at Benelli. She corrals. We stay 2-1, Ohio in the lead, 5:10 to play. Benelli places it right in front of her. Now a long kick down the near sideline. Rocky clears. And now Knorr there for Ohio after the ball bounces over Molly Preston's head.
You can tell the Thundering Herd are really trying to attack, but they're just having trouble keeping control of the ball. And that's exactly what Ohio's trying to do here is keep control of the ball. If Ohio can just keep this ball and keep it in their attacking third, there will be no chance for Marshall to come back and get that game-tying goal that they're so desperately looking for.
Knorr has it for Ohio. Ball played in the 18. Chested down. Kay comes away with it and buries it. Madeline Kay adds to the lead. Ohio 3, Marshall 1, 4:27 to play. And Kay comes up with her second goal of the weekend.
Yeah, you said it, Gabe, too. Ohio midfielders having just absolutely terrific weekends. Madeline Kay with her second goal of the weekend. She had the first goal against Northern Kentucky, and earlier Serena Dierig to give Ohio what will probably be the game-winning goal. Bobcats now lead it 3-1. Kay a little bit fortunate there, as the Herd defense was a little bit frantic, and they couldn't keep the control of the ball that they were looking for. So that ball bounced right to the feet of Kay. She was able to take a touch forward. Benelli had to come out to get a better angle, but ultimately Kay was able to bury that shot in the left side far back netting.
Kay, no goals last season for Ohio, now has 2 goals in under 48 hours for the Bobcats. She got the first goal against Northern Kentucky in the second half to make it 2-1 before Dierig tied it up. And now she adds to Ohio's lead. They're up 3-1. Free kick Marshall, far side. And Kalika there to clear. 3.5 to play, and Marshall needs a couple of goals just to tie in the next 3 minutes. Lawman plays back. Springer with it for Marshall, sends the ball in, headed away by Arnzen. And now Kay wins it in the midfield for Ohio. Kay plays Molesky. Molesky outside to Knorr. Knorr back to Molesky in the corner. Ohio taking their time here, just trying to tick the clock. Molesky battling with Gonzalez. And she'll keep it in the corner. That ball deflected out by Gonzalez. Ohio throw. 2:50 to play.
Well, we're seeing the ambition from Marshall, but they're just struggling with execution at this point. They're sending numbers forward. They're doing the best they can. But Ohio's defense has been staunch, and Marshall is just ultimately unable to control the ball and get it to where they need to be.
They're going to give Marshall a kick here. I believe they called a stalling warning, or a stalling call. I didn't think that ball went out over the touchline.
I didn't think it did either, Gabe.
But Marshall gets the kick. Kalika immediately wins it for Ohio to Dierig near the top of the 18. Back to Maria Kalika. Kalika, left-footed shot on the ground, deflected by Gonzalez. Kalika gets it back. Knorr near the 6, shot and just wide. Tries to beat Benelli, far post, and just misses. Paige Knorr, who was part of the All-MAC freshman team last season. Misses just wide, 1:40 to play in this game. Ohio leads 3-1. Goal kick goes straight to Molesky. Molesky touches to Kalika, and now no handball called there. Ohio wanted it. No, that ball too long for Mara Abutea. Ohio 3, Marshall 1, 1:20 to play.
But this is exactly what I'm talking about, Gabe. Marshall having the ambition, just trying all that they can to hoof the ball upfield. But ultimately, the first attempt was Benelli, which went right to an Ohio player. And then that last one where they were trying to find Abutea down the right side, just hit it too hard and out of bounds. So the ambition is there, but Marshall kind of shooting themselves in the foot a little bit. Not able to put the ball where they need to.
Kalika dribbles into the corner, gets it taken away. 50 seconds to play. Sensky there for Ohio. She'll play back to the keeper, Malum. Final seconds ticking down. 2 second-half goals by Ohio. Gives them a 3-1 lead. Now under 30 seconds to play. And foul called on Paige Knorr there. Marshall free kick. And they want to play one in the box. And now, nope, they're going to play to the middle, to Biggs. Biggs' pass. Sent back towards Serena Dierig. Dierig sends it down the left sideline. That should do it. Ohio fans have something to cheer about here on a Sunday afternoon in Athens. Ohio 3, Marshall 1, your final. Ohio improves to 2-3-1 on the season. They get their first victory over the Marshall Thundering Herd since 2012. And the Bobcats are now 1-1 here at Chesapeake in 2018.
Really solid performance from a lot of players. I mentioned earlier on that there wasn't a midfield battle, but it was the Ohio midfielders that got things done today. Madeline Kay, Serena Dierig, and Jenny Santa Catarina all listed on the roster as straight-up midfielders. But they were playing like forwards today. I tell you what, Gabe, they had terrific power on all of their shots and great location from each one of them. I'm not going to try and say that all of their shots were the same, but they all had the same elements. Power and location, and that's what you needed to beat Benelli on a day like today. She seemed pretty unstoppable, but ultimately led up 3 goals today, so she's now given up 10 goals in 5 games, the Marshall Thundering Herd's keeper. That's an average of 2 per game for her. But that's not really what you expect out of Benelli. She, like I said, inching closer to that top 5 in program history for saves. She had a few nice saves today, but ultimately Ohio just had more chances. They were more consistently in that attacking third. And ultimately, their shots were the ones that were on target and in the back of the net.
This is the first game this season for Ohio that's been decided by more than 1 goal. Every loss, every win has been by 1 for the Bobcats this year. And
same thing for Marshall.
And you said it, same thing for the Thundering Herd. As Marshall loses to Ohio 3-1 today, the Bobcats and Aaron Rodgers has to be very impressed with the way his team came out, not only to start this game, to get the opening goal. We talked about the slow starts for Ohio last season and in the first couple of weekends this year in 2018. They get the opening goal from Santa Catarina, and then they come out in the second half, and after playing some back-and-forth ball for a while, 2 goals within a matter of 10 to 15 minutes for the Bobcats really broke this thing open, and they were able to hold off Marshall for a 3-1 victory.
Well, the thing that impressed me about the Bobcats today, especially in that second half, it was a tie ball game, but they decided we're not going to play to the tie. We don't want to go to overtime. We want to win this thing now. They were playing so positive, so attacking the entire time, making sure that they were pressing forward, getting into that attacking third, creating chances for themselves, and ultimately that eventually paid off for the Bobcats. It didn't immediately, but just the fact that they were pressing so hard, making Marshall work. And for a while, that defense looked like it was in a bend but not break mode, but eventually Ohio broke that defense down, scored 2 more goals in the second half. Started off with that 8th-minute goal from Jenny Santa Catarina, and then it was Jane Lawman on the assist from Farah Abutea for the Thundering Herd, but after that it was all Ohio, a goal from Serena Dierig, which ended up being the game winner, and then a nice insurance goal from Madeline Kay to give the Bobcats a 3-1 victory.
Ohio goes to Cleveland State on Friday, just 5 days from now. That's a 7 o'clock kickoff at Cleveland State. Marshall travels to High Point in North Carolina. That's on Friday as well. That's a 7 o'clock kickoff. These 2 teams do not meet for the rest of the season. Marshall falls to 1-3-1 on the year. The Bobcats improved to 2-3-1 on the season, and Aaron Rodgers has openly talked about how obviously he schedules his non-conference schedule to prepare them for the Mid-American Conference. With a tough schedule like this, getting a couple wins, you battle to a scoreless draw against Lipscomb. All your losses, you've been right in the ball game, including down 2-0 to Northern Kentucky, battling back to tie that thing. They'll go to Cleveland State on Friday and hope to pick up a win there as well.
Yeah, you have to think Rodgers is happy with the way that his team has performed all season. Finally, though, they're able to come here and get a dominating victory in front of the home fans. You know, ultimately, it was only a 2-goal win, but in soccer, that's pretty huge in and of itself. But just apart from that, Ohio looked like the better team all game. They were creating more chances. Their defense was never scrambling. It was an organized defense and a ruthless attack. And this is what Rodgers has been building toward all season. This is what you've been looking for out of this team. We're only 2 days into September, a lot of season left, but you've got to think that Rodgers wants this team, the way that they perform today, for the rest of the season, especially into MAC play.
Again, Ohio improves to 2-3-1 on the year. Marshall falls to 1-3-1 3-1 on the season. The Bobcats go to Cleveland State Friday, September 7th, to take on Cleveland State at 7 o'clock Friday night. Thanks for tuning in today. For Noah Wolf, I'm Gabe Genovese. So long from Athens.